Yeah, just talk us through that goal, though, because Ruben Amorim has spoken about perhaps maybe a little bit of nervousness and not so much confidence, but in the last few games and tonight, you just look so comfortable.
Yeah, I just took what he told me as to work, on my confidence and stuff. And I think I did well today. And I just looked at the ball and I saw it drop and I just hit it. So. Yeah.
Did he talk to you about your finish or how to finish even?
No, I've been practicing in training, so I think that's what helped me. And
Aidan, in terms of the defence, you talk about the clean sheet, and so much has been made about this formation, whether it's a back three, a back four, and goodness knows what it was by the end. Did it feel more balanced for you tonight?
Yeah, it was different again. Obviously, I was playing on the right side, and it's obviously my weaker foot, but the manager, we play loads of formations with him, and whatever he does, we know it's going to work. And obviously, you saw today, and I'm just so proud of the team.
And so much has been made as well about the opportunity to go fifth in the Premier League, and you've had chances before, but you did it tonight. Just talking about being in the top five or fifth, what does that do for confidence?
Yeah, obviously, I think as Manchester United, we belong in Europe, and we want to get back there next season. So obviously we can even push for the top four, possibly win the league, anything's possible, and yeah, we're just going to keep trying.
But do you feel you are progressing and you are developing to be that top five, top four team?
Yeah, for sure. You see the fighting spirit we showed today, the whole game, defending as a team, so for sure. And when we get players back as well, we'll be even stronger, so yeah.
Well, you scored the goal, you were the match winner. Aidan is player of the match. I mean, you want to share it as well, but what would you like to say? What would you like to say about Patrick first?
I just want to thank him, because I was just in front of him when he volleyed it in. I knew as soon as it dropped, he was gonna score. But yeah, I'm just thankful, to him, and yeah, that's it.
And what would you like to say about Aidan?
Yeah, Aidan did really well today. Cleared a lot of balls and defended really well. So I'm happy for him.
Well done. Let you get back in the dressing room. Would you like to do the honours?
Yeah, bro.
Sorry, what?
It's fine.
He deserves it, but it's my first one. If it was my second one, it would be his. But
your first and his first goal.
Yeah, it's fine, bro. We share it.
Aidan, Patrick, congratulations. Aidan, first of all, that felt big tonight.
It was finally clean sheet. We've been waiting for this for a couple of weeks, and I'm just so happy. And yeah. This guy here, he helped us get there. So yeah, I'm just so thankful for everyone that helped us.
And this guy here, Patrick, I spoke to you before the game. You were feeling confident. You said you yourself had watched Newcastle and you thought of a way of trying to expose them. What a hit!
Yeah, it was a good hit. Didn't know I could do that, but but I was very happy to score my first goal in the stadium as well. So it was amazing.
What excites you about Manchester United right now?
I think Cunha linking with, Mount, and when Bruno plays, it looks like those three really do have something that can create a lot of problems for teams. These last few matches, I think they've been a different standard, and I think obviously Sesko's come in because then Burmo and Ahmad aren't there, which is a real problem. But that excites me. The biggest problem for United isn't the lads that have gone to AFCON or Bruno not playing, it's actually the two lads at the back, Maguire and De Ligt not playing. I think that's a real problem for United. They look like you can get at them and concede goals, but going forward I actually think they are linking quite well.
So you're seeing quite a lot of progress, would you say, at the end of this year?
I think in the last couple of weeks, when you've seen Cunha play with Mount, with Burmo, obviously before he went to AFCON with Ahmad, I think that looks like something that will score quite a few goals and they'll create chances, but they look really open at the back, and that's a problem they've got to try and deal with. But I think that's sometimes to do with injuries as it is so much to do with basically sort of the young lads that are in there are struggling to cope with what's being thrown at them, and tonight I think it might be a little bit the same.
Do you think it's unrealistic, Roy, to ask Manchester United at this point to be able to do both of those things, to score goals, which you were always calling for last season? Yeah. They didn't score enough, but also be able to keep teams out?
Yeah, no, I just think they just need to be better. We're not going to compare to the brilliant defensive teams like Arsenal, but they do have to be better. When you think of the chances recently or the goals they've conceded, even the two at Villa, okay, that can happen, Villa on a good run, but the 4 against Bournemouth, to concede 4, Bournemouth having 1 in 8, it's that way you need to be a little bit tighter. And I still feel that anytime I watch United, as good as they are going forward, teams seem to create chances so easily. It's just 1 or 2 quick passes and players that not doing the basics properly. And that comes from having good teammates putting demands on each other. So I don't see with this group of players yet with United. So as much as we can sit there and go, yeah, they're really going to go forward, But really part of football, if you want to make progress as a football club, particularly as big as Man United, you've got to be harder to beat. And they just don't do enough. We saw that against Villa, we saw against Bournemouth. They need to improve in that, or else we're going to continue talking about the same problems and go, yeah, great to watch, great going forward, and they are, and they're creating chances. Obviously, Bruno's a huge loss. But if they keep giving up chances and goals like they're doing, they'll never make that next step. We keep looking at the table saying United are just they're only one or two wins away from getting the top four, but we've said that now for 4 or 5 games. So they have to tighten up the back, and obviously they've got injury problems, so it's a big test for them. But part of playing for a big club is dealing with these challenges, and particularly when you're missing some of your best players.
Jamie, you talk a lot about the underlying numbers on Monday Night Football. We can show you what it looks like for Manchester United. And if you think of this as the sort of green tinsel and the red tinsel, the green is the attacking, and the red is the defensive numbers. The best possible scenario is that they are a long way apart with green on top. So it's in a healthier position. It has been for some time. In fact, the attacking numbers are the best they've ever been under Ruben Amorim. And the defensive numbers look like they have been improving as well. Do you think all that is grounds for optimism? You know, would you say that Manchester United could well be climbing higher than 7th and maybe even finishing in the top 4 this season?
No, I don't think they'll finish in the top 4, but I think at the start of the season they still have to be getting into Europe. I think the bar's been set so low when you consider sort of last season where Manchester United finished, that I think there's probably an over-excitement about how they've played in the last few weeks and probably where they are in the table. I mean, we look at some teams around, even last year, think of sort of, Nottingham Forest or Bournemouth up there. Manchester United still spent a good chunk of change in the summer. They've got some good players who they've brought in, Cunha and Buemo, and they should be where they are in the table. They should be qualifying for Europe, and that should not be seen as a big achievement. But I think getting in the Champions League probably would be a step too far. But listen, they're green shoots, if you like. Yeah. But when you look at the sort of last couple of results, and I always say this about teams, we say a lot about teams that it's great to get results when you're not playing well. I worry for teams when they're not getting results and they're playing well. I think Manchester United were really good, and Aston Villa, and I think in terms of the attacking, part of the game was really good against Bournemouth. They've got 1 point. I think that's a worry when teams actually play well and don't pick up points or pick up maybe what they should.
I would ordinarily agree with that, but I think, to be fair to United under Ruben Amorim, I think we've been seeking performance for a long time, and we've not seen anything that looks like a performance that you think, where are the green shoots? Where's this team going? I actually feel a little bit heartened, not just by the numbers that you've just seen on there, but I actually think it's important they play well. I get it. They've conceded 4 goals and they've obviously conceded 2 at Villa, which is a real problem. But I do think you can put that down to players being injured. I'd be very worried if in a few weeks' time and Maguire and De Ligt were back and they were still conceding 4 and 2s, in games like that. I think if those 2 get back and they can provide some level of stability and reliability, and they can continue to keep going forward and getting Burmo and Ahmad back fit from AFCON, and obviously Bruno back, I do think they can get into the Champions League. Not because I think that they're an amazing team. I think the league is up and down this year like we've never seen it before, and I do think over the last few weeks they should have won some of those games. I mean, going into the games against West Ham, Everton, Bournemouth at home, I mean, to get basically 2 points out of those 9 is ridiculous, really. So I think my view is that I do think it's important that they have played well
in those games.
No, in the
Everton game, the West Ham game.
He's changed something though in the last couple of games. I think he's gone back to it tonight because of obviously the players missing with the 2 in midfield and the 3 at the back. But the last 2 games he has adapted and he has put more players forward. In the game against, I think, Bournemouth, they had Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount, and one more, Ahmad. So they had 4 up front almost. That was a lot better.
Do you think that's the reason why you think in the last couple of weeks the football's been better? Do you think it's because he's adapted, or he's got all his attacking players on the pitch?
He's got more attacking players on the pitch. I think if you look at that team tonight, it's going to be a struggle.
I can show you it, Gary.
But it's going to be a struggle. The reason it's going to be a struggle is you've got basically 5 players at the back. You've got 2 players in the midfield who can't pass or run really, in Casemiro and Agati. So if you look at that back 7 plus the goalkeeper, right? That's 8 players on the pitch that are not going to win you the match. That's too many as an imbalance from a defensive perspective. You've only got Cunha, Sesko and Mount that can actually do anything going forward, really. You're not going to be expecting too much from the others. A couple of weeks ago, there was Mbeumo was in there, Bruno was in there, and Ahmad was in there. So you had basically 5 players that could go forward and 5 players that could defend. I think those 5 players that are defending need to be better players than they currently are. So hopefully when De Ligt and Maguire come back, they can sort that out.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, again, until we see the team be more consistent. consistent. That's the key when you're playing for any decent club. You got to be consistent. In the summer, we thought give the manager pre-season. He got more signings in. They're out of the League Cup. They're not in Europe. They have no other demands. Yet they're still not showing us they can do it. Yet they've got injuries. And then you got to ask why they're picking up so many injuries if they've got no midweek games. Because I laughed in the summer. People said, "Oh, it's great that they're not in Europe." I think you want to play regular games. You want to be competing, and we're still waiting. But again, we'll come to the game tonight. Not really belief, but you're hoping that United will turn up. And yeah, they're up against it tonight. But you're still Man United home to Newcastle. You still think you can roll your sleeves up and dig out a result. But the question marks are still there for me. I'm not convinced with this team in terms of getting the top 4. I'm thinking, no, they're not ready for that yet.
Well, in that case, do they need to investigate in January?
Yeah, but
especially with these injuries that are appearing, of course the players will come back from AFCON.
Yeah, but injuries is all part of the challenge. I'm sure the Newcastle squad is being stretched as well because they've got different demands. But we've had this conversation before. Who do you get in January? Is it really
what about Antoine Semenyo, who looks like he might be on his way from Bournemouth? And it looks like Manchester City and Manchester United are both, and others, are both there saying, come to us.
Yeah, but we've just discussed it. We actually feel no doubt he's a very good player. But he's another attacking player, but Man United scoring goals at this moment in time is not the big issue for him. It's about being better at the back, defensively in midfield. We're looking at the 2 midfielders tonight for Man United midfield, and we're worried already. Looking at the teams going, people will be running off the back of them. So I don't think that's a priority for Man United.
Don't prioritise another attacking player.
Well, I don't think so, no. I don't think so. But again, what other options have you got out there for midfielders? It's going to be tough.
You'd have to go midfield next for United if you were thinking about prioritising an area with what the problems they've got in there. You'd have to. I mean, Ugarte he's struggled badly. Casemiro, we know, he's coming to the last part of his career. Kobbie Mainoo's obviously injured at the moment, and Bruno's out for a few weeks, but they've got real problems in there. They need to deal with that next.
And if they struggle tonight, we go back to the importance of attacking players and defensively. But if you're going to win big prizes, or you're going to try and dominate weekend, your midfield is huge. You've got to be strong. You've got to be powerful. You've got to have quality. We see Bruno's qualities, but we're still question marks over United's midfield. And if we keep having that conversation, United are going to have the same problems. So going forward, well and good. But if you can dominate midfield, you've got a great chance of winning football matches. And a big test for United midfield tonight. And if they don't come up with it, then straight away you're thinking Newcastle have a great chance of winning just on the battle of midfield alone.
Leandro Trossard proved to be the perfect antidote to Arsenal's attacking frustrations, following Mikel Arteta's candid remarks about Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres may have struggled to truly impress since his summer arrival at Arsenal, but over the weekend, there was finally a glimpse of what he is capable of. More importantly, Trossard showed exactly why he could be the key to unlocking the Swedish striker's full potential during Arsenal's hard-fought 2-1 victory over Wolves at the Emirates Stadium. The 31-year-old winger injected fresh energy into Mikel Arteta's side on Saturday night and helped breathe new life into the Gunners' attack. Shortly after replacing Gabriel Martinelli in the second half, Arsenal found the breakthrough. While Trossard did not directly contribute to either the opening goal or the dramatic stoppage time winner, his influence on the game was undeniable. Trossard took control of proceedings, dictating the tempo and pulling the strings down the left flank. Time and again, he dismantled Wolves' compact defensive setup, releasing Miles Lewis-Skelly into space, picking out Declan Rice on the edge of the box, and crucially, feeding Gyökeres with intelligent, well-timed passes. Operating as a creative hub, the Belgian showcased his playmaking qualities, delivering sharp, purposeful distribution. His introduction completely shifted the momentum of the match, and for the first time in weeks, Arsenal's $64 million striker briefly looked like a genuine threat. Before Trossard's arrival, Gyökeres endured a frustrating and ineffective outing in attack. In fact, the Belgian was the only player to carve out a clear-cut opportunity for the 27-year-old forward, slipping a simple yet incisive ball in behind the Wolves' backline. Gyökeres controlled the pass, beat his defender, and aimed for the far post. Wolves goalkeeper Sam Johnstone was beaten, but the Swedish striker saw his effort agonizingly drift just wide. If Arteta truly wants to get the best out of Gyökeres, then granting Trossard a more prominent role in the starting 11th could be the solution. Speaking to TNT Sports after the win, the Arsenal manager openly addressed the challenges facing his marquee signing. It's a collaboration between the two, Arteta explained. He was in some really good positions, but the ball didn't arrive quickly enough, accurately enough, or with the precision a number 9 needs to score. But his commitment and intention were there, and we have to keep pushing. Arteta was equally vocal in defending Gyökeres prior to the match, urging patience with the striker's adaptation to English football. There was huge expectation because we were signing a proven goal scorer, probably with the best statistics in Europe, Arteta said. But he's coming into a different league, the most demanding league in the world. What happens if he doesn't score in 5 or 6 games? That was the only question I asked him. How are you going to react if you don't score in 5 or 6 matches? Can you handle that? And what about the next 100 games? That's what people need to see. The sample size is still very small, so leave him alone. Let him do what he does best. Support him, and I'm convinced things will come good. That message from Arteta resonated beyond the Emirates. In the days following the Wolves' victory, the debate around Gyökeres intensified among pundits, supporters, and former players. While some questioned whether Arsenal's record signing is truly suited to the Premier League's pace and physicality, others pointed to the structural issues around him rather than the striker himself. Much of the post-match analysis focused on Arsenal's chance creation and balance in the final third. The Wolves game highlighted a recurring theme this season. Gyökeres often makes the right movements, but the service into dangerous areas has been inconsistent. When Trossard entered the match, that problem briefly disappeared. Arsenal suddenly looked more fluid, more unpredictable, and far better equipped to supply a traditional number 9. Former players speaking on television and radio were quick to note the contrast. With Trossard drifting inside and linking play, Arsenal's attacking shape became more compact, allowing Gyökeres to stay higher up the pitch and occupy central defenders. That, in turn, created space for midfield runners like Rice and Ødegaard to arrive late in the box. It was a glimpse of an attacking formula that Arsenal have rarely sustained this season. The reaction from supporters has been equally divided. While frustration with Gyökeres' goal return remains, there is growing appreciation for his work rate, physical presence, and willingness to press from the front. Many fans now see Trossard as the missing connector, the player who can translate Gyökeres' movement into genuine scoring opportunities. Internally, Arteta faces an important decision. Persisting with a front line that isolates Gyökeres risks damaging the striker's confidence, especially with tougher fixtures on the horizon. At the same time, promoting Trossard to a regular starting role could mean reshuffling wide positions and reducing Martinelli's minutes, a bold call that would not come without consequences. Yet football at the highest level often comes down to chemistry rather than reputation. The Wolves match suggested that Arsenal's most expensive signing may not need drastic changes to his own game, but rather the right supporting cast around him. If Arteta embraces that idea, Gyökeres' slow start could soon be remembered as nothing more than a difficult adjustment period. For now, the pressure remains. Goals will ultimately define Gyökeres' Arsenal career, and patience in North London is never unlimited. But with Trossard offering clarity, creativity, and calm in possession, Arsenal may finally have found the key to unlocking their striker and turning promise into consistent production.